Is that your brother? We moved into a house when I was about 10. We had plenty of friends in the neighborhood, and we had the biggest yard, so our house was like a revolving door. A few of our friends would stay at our house often because they enjoyed the creepy stuff that happens. One thing all of us agreed on is that we always had an uneasy feeling walking up the stairs. We couldn't walk up the stairs because you'd always get a sudden rush of terror, like something was there chasing you. Some of our friends made jokes it was because of the ghost. When I turned 15, I started dating a boy named T. One day he came over and the whole family decided to do a movie night. T and I sat by the door that gave you a whole full view of the stairs. The rest of the family was on the other side, where they wouldn't have been able to see. During the movie, T asked why we didn't have my little brother watching it with us. I was the second oldest of 7, so if you seen a kid, it wasn't out of the ordinary. I looked over at my 3 brothers sitting next to my mom and told him where they were. His face went white. I'll always remember how fast his face turned into a sunken white mask almost. I got worried and tried getting him to talk. He said, "He's gone." I said, "Who's gone?" T's voice started shaking. "He was right there. There was a little boy on the stairs staring at me. Where did he go?" I didn't know what to say. We were both at a loss of words. A couple weeks later, a couple of my friends came over after school, and they all said they seen a boy on the stairs following me. None of my brothers were there. I am now 25. My parents still live in that house, and I still have to run up the stairs like that 15-year-old girl because I know he's still there. Ghost in my house one night only. I had a ghost in the house one night. Just one night. At the time, I lived alone. Still do, still in the same house. I was 35 and had been living in my home for about 2 or 3 years. Nothing out of the ordinary in those years. One night I was reading in bed. It was an average-sized bedroom and my bed faced the door. Bedroom door was open. I had no pets at the time and no reason to close the bedroom door. I read most nights before bed, so I was sitting up in bed, light on, reading. But I had the creepy feeling I was being watched. I couldn't get over it. I'd be studying the words, trying to immerse myself in the story, but I could not get over the feeling I was being watched. I kept looking up. I peered into the main area of the house. All dark, all lights out, nothing, no noise, no light. I locked the front and back doors just like I did every night. I live in Minneapolis, so this was not some remote, isolated town. I could not read my book. That feeling of being watched or stared at kept growing and growing. Ever watch TV with someone and they're just staring at you while you stare at the TV? You don't even need to turn to them because you can feel their eyes on you. Funny thing is, I didn't feel threatened. Not exactly. I didn't like the sensation. It was completely creeping me out, but I didn't feel like I was going to be attacked. I tried shaking it off, but I couldn't read, so I turned off the light and tried to sleep, but that just made the sensation worse. The thing watching me never felt like it was in my bedroom, always just beyond the bedroom door in the darkness of the rest of the house. After a few minutes of this intense feeling, I knew I couldn't fall asleep. I realized I had to do what I had to do. Make sure there was nobody in the house. What if this was some survival instinct, and there was a person hiding in my home who I was ignoring? This was pre-cell phones, or I promise you, I would have texted a friend to come over right away. I could have called someone, I guess, but I did something more stupid. Got up, turned on the lights in the dining room. Nobody there. Went back to bed laughing at myself for being ridiculous. Turned out the light. Immediately, the sensation was back and equally as strong. I was being watched. I tried to ignore it, I really did. Nope, not gonna happen. Got up, turned on the lights. I got my softball bat and I walked the entire house. I think this is the bravest, stupidest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I went into every room and turned on every light. I knew I wouldn't sleep if I didn't check every single closet, every person-sized cubbyhole. I went into the basement. I looked behind the basement stairs. I double-checked front and back doors. Both were locked. All windows were secured. My upstairs wasn't finished at the time, under renovations, but I went up there and looked in every nook and cranny. Probably a full hour had passed since I started noticing the sensation, reading in bed. If someone were hiding in my house and meant me harm, I seriously doubt a chunky 35-year-old with an aluminum bat would have done much harm, so that was dumb of me. But I felt very confident I was alone in the house. This was my mind playing tricks on me. The house was empty. I was now 100% sure. I went back to my bedroom, all the lights in the house off except the bedside light. I was still rattled, freaked out that I thought walking the house was necessary in the first place. I mean, who does that? I laughed at myself for freaking out. Started reading. It was back. I was being watched.